Good evening, I'm David Brown, and this is the Northern Sun Experience. Last season, Bemidji State football clinched a share of the NSIC North Division title for the first time since 2012. Heading into this season, the Beavers had plenty of momentum, returning all 11 starters on offense along with some solid playmakers on defense. But the question was, could BSU maintain its success? That answer would come soon enough as the Beavers faced an early test in Week 2 on the road at preseason NSIC favorite Minnesota State. Beavers already up 7-0 in the first and adding to it. Tahi Nomain for the 2-yard touchdown. Bemidji State up 14-zip at that point, and they led 24-0 at halftime. Mavs try to mount a comeback in the third. Ryan Schlichty muscles his way just past the plane for the 5-yard run, cutting the Beaver lead to 24-7. Ensuing drive, however, Bemidji State regains control. Nomain with another short touchdown run to give the Beavers a 31-7 advantage. Matt field goal cuts it to 31-10, but Bemidji State would not be stopped. Check out the power from Gina Adams on this 35-yard run into the Minnesota State red zone. And then Nomain finishes off the drive with his third short touchdown run, 38-10 Bemidji State. Quarterback Jordan Hine, the preseason Offensive Player of the Year in the North Division, finishes off the Beavers scoring with this 7-yard touchdown run. Bemidji State not only shocks the preseason favorite on the road, but they do so in convincing fashion. 45-17 Beavers, their first win over a ranked opponent in 6 years. Another big North and South matchup in Minnesota featured Winona State at Minnesota Duluth. Bulldogs down 6-0, but that's when Drew Bauer does Drew Bauer things, spinning away from pressure, firing downfield to Nate Ricci. Ricci cuts back inside and stretches out for the score, 54-yard touchdown, and we're tied at 6. UMD down 13-6 in the second when Bauer just decides to keep it himself on the read option. 10-yard scamper, and we're tied at 13. Still in the first, Bulldogs on the move again. Bauer to a sliding Jason Baltz, 20-13 UMD. It's 20-19 in the second quarter, and watch this. Nate Ricci will get the punt, head to the left, cut back inside, goes back outside, and takes off down the left sideline. 62-yard punt return touchdown makes it 27-19 Bulldogs. This would be a back-and-forth contest all game long, but Minnesota Duluth would get the final score as Bauer finds Darren Walker, 10-yard strike. UMD bounces back with a 34-31 win over Winona State. When we come back, we'll go through the rest of the NSIC football slate, including Augustana looking to be more consistent offensively against UMary.
The Northern Sun Experience on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back to the Northern Sun Experience. Despite a 37-34 overtime victory over Northern State last week, Augustana had to be feeling more relieved than excited about the win. With a ton of preseason hype, the Vikings dodged a bullet against a tough Wolves team, knowing any slip-up in the short season could be the difference between making the playoffs or sitting at home. Augustana hoping to find more of a groove in Week 2 on the road visiting UMary, and they found it early and often. No score in the first, Trey Hyde to Nathan Merriman, his first career touchdown as he stretches toward the pylon, and the Vikings have a 7-0 lead. Second quarter now, Hyde would go to the air once again, all kinds of time, finds Trevor DeShepper over the middle, 43-yard touchdown, makes it 14-zip. Later in the second, the Viking ground game would get to work. Jackie Davis gets in from 5 yards out, the first of his 3 touchdowns on the afternoon, 21-0 Augustana. Hyde would have another banner day at quarterback, 22 of 26, 327 yards and 4 touchdowns. This one to Matt Heller, keeping his toes in bounds. 28-0 at that point, and Augustana bounces back in a big way, blanking UMary 63-0. SMSU at Northern State. The Wolves' Connor Doherty with the short touchdown early to make it 7-0 NSU. Later, Mustangs tie it up with all-reliable Ashanti Payne from 5 yards out to make it 7-7. But the star of the game would be Northern State's Channing Barber. He returns this kickoff 87 yards all the way down to the SMSU 10 to set up a field goal, and Barber would come up big much later. Wolves up by 10 in the third, but the Mustangs not going away. Blake Gimbel has some time and he finds Nate Hewitt, one of his 2 scores, cuts the lead to 31-28. A lot of back and forth in this game, yet despite the big numbers, Barber was the key. Picking off this pass and going 70 yards the other way for the score. Barber also had a fumble recovery for a touchdown in a wild 51-35 victory for Northern State. Sioux Falls hoping to move to 2-0, hosting MSU Moorhead. No score in the first, Luke Papillion showing off his skill set. The Cougars quarterback goes 18 yards on the run, 7-0 USF. Later in the first, Dragons get the equalizer. Demetrius Carr lobs it up for Damon Gibson. Great catch in the back of the end zone, and we are tied at 7. End of the first now, Papillion switches sides, using his blockers on the right side for his second rushing touchdown. Sioux Falls up 14-7 after 1. Second quarter, Papillion doing more of the same, using the read option this time to draw in the Dragon defenders, and then he just turns on the afterburners down the left sideline. 55 yards to the house, and the Coup lead 21-7. MSU Moorhead would keep up for most of the first half, however. Carr shows Papillion he's not the only QB that can run. 3-yard plunge cuts the USF lead to 21-14. But that's as close as the Dragons would get. Papillion finally decides to show off his arm, throwing across his body to Josh Angulo for the 12-yard touchdown. Sioux Falls up 28-14 at that point, and the Cougars go on to double up the Dragons 42-21. Let's head to Iowa. Upper Iowa hosting St. Cloud State in the Peacocks home opener. No score in the second. Dimitri Morales to Trey McTaggart. Wide open, 10-yard strike, 7-0 Peacocks. Later in the quarter, Huskies spread things out, and Nate Meyer's going to find his favorite target, Jamison Parsons, over the middle from 9 yards out. Extra point is blocked, however, and St. Cloud State still trails 7-6. Final minute of the half, Huskies trying to seize momentum, and they do so on this beautiful fade from Meyer to Parsons. 28 yards, St. Cloud State takes a 13-7 halftime lead. Third quarter, Peacocks tie things back up. Check out Morales rolling to his left, throwing across his body to Jared Edmonds. 42-yard pitch and catch, extra point no good, so we're tied at 13. But the Huskies would have too much firepower. Meyer with the pass to John Pass, perfect name for a 40-yard touchdown. St. Cloud State would take the lead for good on that score, and the Huskies top the Peacocks 27-20. Minot State and Wayne State met in Nebraska Saturday. Less than a minute into the game, the Beavers' Zach Kuna to Akeel Walker, leaping grab over the middle, 21 yards, 7-0 Minot State. Wildcats would try and keep up. Zach Osborne to Nate Rogers, 16 yards to cut the Minot lead to 20-14. Last play of the game, Wayne trying for the game-winning Hail Mary, but it's picked off by Minot's Donnell Vircher, and the Beavers win it 20-14. Concordia St. Paul hoping to move to 2-0 with a win at Minnesota Crookston. Golden Bears up 7-0, but Golden Eagles marching back. Harold Halcomb with a nice 22-yard run down to the 2, and he would cross the plane on the very next play, 2-yard touchdown, and we're tied at 7. Concordia adds a field goal to go up 10-7, then adds even more in the second quarter. Ron Johnson to Bruce Mitchell, he gets in from 9 yards out, 17-7 CSP. Golden Bears up 31-7 at halftime, and they would pull away in the second half. Johnson to Darius Chapes, 10-yard score, 38-7 at that point. Golden Bears shine brighter than the Golden Eagles, 41-18. And the road for Minnesota Crookston doesn't get any easier as we get a look at the Week 3 schedule. The Golden Eagles travel to Sioux Falls to take on Augustana, coming off their 63-0 win at U-Mary. The Marauders also have a tough task ahead of them as they travel to Marshall to take on Southwest Minnesota State. Northern State at Winona State is the last of the 1 o'clock starts on Saturday. Starting at 2, we have Upper Iowa on the road at MSU Moorhead. And then at 3 at Sioux Falls at Minot State, along with Minnesota State at St. Cloud State. 6 o'clock games wrap up Week 3 with Minnesota Duluth heading to the cities to take on Concordia St. Paul, and Wayne State at Bemidji State. Beavers hoping to keep things going after their big win in Mankato. When we come back, a couple of big national volleyball tournaments feature some of the NSIC's top schools. We've got the highlights plus a look at the latest national poll next. Welcome back to the Northern Sun Experience. This past weekend was the last one before conference play in NSIC volleyball, and several teams found plenty of challenges in tournaments across the country, including right here in Sioux Falls. We'll start, however, out in Colorado, where the annual Premier Challenge featured 2 of the NSIC's best. Southwest Minnesota State took on the Colorado School of Mines last Friday. First set, Mustangs look in midseason form. The setup for Taylor Reese for the kill. SMSU looking good early. A little bit later in the set, Mustangs show off a little finesse. Aisha Oden with a small tap over the net to fool the defense. SMSU goes back to the power game later on. Reese gets set up for another cross-court kill. Mustangs take the first set 25-16. Second set, Oden goes back to what she knows best, hammering it down the middle for the point. She had 12 kills on the afternoon. Third set, match point for the Mustangs, and once again they show off some touch at the net. Sarah Parker this time with a soft kill, and SMSU tops Colorado Mines 3-0. Later in the day, the Mustangs took on West Florida. First set, SMSU with some defense. Reese had some great kills earlier in the day. Here she gets a nice block at the net. Second set, more quick strikes from Aisha Oden, skying high for another kill down the middle. She had another 12 kills to go with the 12 in the earlier match. Third set, Mustangs finished just the way they started. Reese with the last of her 5 blocks at the net. SMSU sweeps another one, 3-0 over West Florida. And that helped advance SMSU to the tournament championship, facing conference rival Concordia St. Paul. And the Golden Bears kept on shining early in the season. The setup for Emma Lang with the hammer. She led Concordia with 15 kills. Not to be outdone, the Mustangs countered with their lead killer. Sarah Parker finds a soft spot in the defense. She also had 15 kills to lead SMSU. But the Golden Bears were simply too much in the end. The setup for Anna Piaski for the kill on the right side. And then it's the preseason player of the year, Riley Hansen, with the kill of her own. Concordia St. Paul tops Southwest Minnesota State in the Colorado Premier Challenge Championship 3-1. Back in Sioux Falls, Pentagon hosting a regional tournament, Winona State versus Southern Indiana. Maria Raggi with a hammer early on. And then on the other side, the setup for Taylor Gore, nearly gores someone with that kill. And then the Warriors show off some defense a little later. Danielle Rampart teaming up for the nice block at the net. And like SMSU before them, Winona State showing off a little bit of touch with the soft kill as the Warriors advance past Southern Indiana 3-0. And Winona State would take on Augustana in the Pentagon Tournament Championship. Early on, Vikings showing off some skills up close. Hannah Justessen slams it home where no Warrior can get it, but the Warriors would end up sweeping the weekend. Another nice setup to Taylor Gore for the kill, and then it's Maria Raggi showing off some power on the opposite side. And then finally check out Lauren Kradranowicz on the net cam going cross-court with finesse. Warriors win the Pentagon Tournament 3-0. And after a successful weekend for most NSIC schools, it's no wonder the national polls reflect that success. The NSIC has the top 4 nationally ranked volleyball teams in the latest AVCA coaches poll. Concordia St. Paul is number 1 with all 48 first-place votes, while Wayne State, Minnesota Duluth, and Southwest Minnesota State are 2 through 4 respectively. Not to be outdone, Winona State is 9th, Northern State is 10th, and Augustana is 20th. So to recap, the top 4 teams overall, 6 of the top 10, and 7 of the top 20 for NSIC volleyball. And true conference play starts this weekend. Should be another great season. Switching gears to soccer now, Upper Iowa hosting nationally ranked Winona State on Friday. 35th minute, Peacocks with a 1-0 lead and taking advantage of Winona mistakes. Brianne Fenton takes the ricochet and blasts it into the net. That gave Upper Iowa a 2-0 lead, and the defense would hold from there. Kayla Petrie had 7 saves, and the Peacocks shocked the Warriors 2-0. In other Friday soccer action, Ferris State visited Minnesota State. 5th minute of the game, Mavs strike first. Alicia Duccini uses her left foot to power it through. Minnesota State takes a 1-0 lead. Second half now, 60th minute, and check out the moves by Morgan Kachu, hurdling over defenders, not letting any obstacle get in her way, and she does the rest. 2-0 Mavs at that point, and Minnesota State tops Ferris State 2-0. Ferris State would continue its Minnesota tour at Winona State on Sunday in a great game. All action in the second half. Alyssa Reynolds centers it for Abby Bahansky for the goal, 1-0 Winona State. Ferris State leads 2-1 late, 89th minute, Warriors running out of time, and Courtney Weincheck nails it in the top right corner to tie the game at 2. And less than a minute later, Winona State pulls off the unthinkable. A huge lob downfield provides just enough space for Bahansky. 2 goals in the 89th minute alone give Winona State a remarkable 3-2 victory. When we come back, we continue our season-long celebration of the NSIC's 25th anniversary by spotlighting the next athlete on the all-time conference team and showcasing another distinguished alum. Welcome back to the Northern Sun Experience. As part of the conference's 25th anniversary, we'll be introducing you to new members on the NSIC's list of all-time greatest athletes. And this week's induction is a fresh and familiar face in Mankato. Former Minnesota State soccer star Corey Cronforce is the latest to be named as part of the NSIC's top 25 female athletes of all time. Cronforce was the 2013 and 2015 NSIC Player of the Year, a two-time first-team All-American, and a three-time first-team All-Region player. Cronforce also holds the NSIC's total scoring record with 104 points and is tied for the NSIC's all-time goal record with 44. Congrats to Corey Cronforce, the newest member of the NSIC's 25th anniversary team. And as part of the anniversary, our Under the Northern Sun campus spotlights this year will feature distinguished alumni from each of the 16 schools. And this week we'll stay in Mankato and hear from former Maverick and current Minnesota Vikings wide receiver Adam Thielen, as he describes his journey from D2 to the NFL.
I was actually told by a few places that I shouldn't play Division II football, just go play basketball somewhere or play D3, because they just didn't think I was going to play Division II football, prove people wrong. Just taking it one day at a time and making sure that I'm doing the same things that kind of got me here and working hard and making plays. It doesn't matter where you came from, as long as you're the best football player at that position, you're going to play, and they trust you to go out there and do your job. So after the Super Regional Combine, I actually had a few scouts pull me to the side and talk to me, and that was right after I ran the 40, so I hadn't even caught a ball yet. One day at a time, that's one thing that I preach is just taking it one day at a time and making sure that every single day that you're getting better at what you want to get better at and what you need to get better at. I never said, I'm going to make it to the NFL. I just said, hey, I'm going to go work my butt off, and I had it in the back of my head that, I want to play in the NFL someday. Coming here, feeling comfortable, knowing everything, knowing where things are, where good places to eat are, just things around town. It's a time to see old coaches, old friends, people from around the community that I've gotten to know over the years. It's just a great time to do that. Try to get to my favorite spots, here and there. Try to get over to Wagy's for breakfast and Jake's for some pizza. Get to the places that my wife and I enjoyed going when we were in college. It's pretty cool too that we both graduated from here, and then we already have some Mav gear for the little guy, so excited for this step of our life, and we can't wait for him to get here. I know my wife is thrilled to have a baby boy, and we can hopefully teach him some of the things that we've done in our lives and sports, and just teach him how to be a good person. Pretty blessed to be in this position. Sometimes it's not even what you do, it's just being in the right spot at the right time and just getting an opportunity and making the most of it. We talk about a lot, talk about games we played against each other, a little smack talk going on. But yeah, it's cool to have those guys here. It just shows how good NSIC football can be, and above that, there's even more guys that came from D2. So it just shows the level of football that Division II is, and that you can make it, and you can play at a high level coming from that division. It's competitive football. So when I made the jump from here to going to the Vikings, it wasn't much different for me. The speed of the game was pretty similar. The first thing I did was rookie camp, and so it's all rookies, so it didn't seem much different for me, which is a testament of NSIC and the football and the sports that comes from this level. I gotta take it one day at a time, and like I said before, I want to have that mindset that I had when I came in here right away, that I gotta come out here and fight and scratch and try to make this football team.
When we come back, it's week 2 of DB's Picks, my top 5 plays of the past week in the NSIC.
The Northern Sun Experience on Midco Sports Network is presented by Sanford Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back to the Northern Sun Experience. It's time for DB's Picks, my top 5 plays of the past week in the NSIC. At number 5, we head to Sioux Falls, where the quarterback continues to show a running back's versatility. Luke Papillion uses the read option to go 55 yards up the left sideline for the touchdown. The senior had 2 touchdowns passing, but 4 touchdowns rushing, 6 total, still good enough for the number 5 play of the past week. For number 4, we stay in Sioux Falls, but give praise to a high-flying Dragon. Demetrius Carr with the lob, and Damon Gibson nabs it in the back of the end zone for MSU Moorhead. Take another look, Carr basically throws up a jump ball, and Gibson leaps over USF's Clifford Redmond to haul it in for the fourth best play of the past week. At number 3, we head to Duluth, where Drew Bauer continues to be the master of improvisation, spinning away from defenders and going across his body to find Nate Ricci, who gets in for the 54-yard touchdown. Here it is again. Bauer's used to pulling out these tricks, using his elusiveness to buy some time, and then using his athleticism to get the ball to Ricci at number 3. For number 2, Ricci doesn't need Bauer's help, but he does need the help of his blockers. After taking the punt and heading to the left, Ricci cuts back inside, skips back outside, and heads down the sideline. 62-yard punt return touchdown. Like Bauer, Ricci can seemingly do it all. He played a little quarterback last year. He's back at his familiar wide receiver this year, and his punt return skills give him the second best play of the past week. But our number 1 goes to Northern State's Channing Barber. The Wolves corner steps in front of the Blake Gimbel pass and takes it 70 yards the other way for a pick 6. Barber also had a fumble return for a touchdown in Northern State's big win over SMSU. 2 defensive touchdowns, but the interception return nabbed the NSIC's best play of the past week. Once again, a thank you to all of our NSIC member schools for their time and contributions to this week's show. We'll be back right here next week for yet another Northern Sun Experience.